Hi everyone. As I promised, in the previous video, I promised you to make another video that will explain the differences between front-end development, back-end development. What are they? Because many people who just start in IT, they ask me like, what is the difference? What is front-end? What is back-end? We don't understand the thing. So I'm here to help you. Here, super good Charlie is with you, and I will light up all that. Mystery that you worry about. Let's start, and maybe you will also understand what interests you the most. But what I advise to people who are just coming to this information technology field and don't know what to do yet, and they want to become a programmer, they are sure that they want to become a software engineer, I advise to try everything in the first year, at least in a basic level, and to understand what they like the most. Some people like working with data, some people like aesthetics and seeing the result of their own work on screen. So it depends on your personality as well. Yeah. I will say that soon I will explain the differences that when you work as a backend, there are times when you just go to, for example, kitchen, think about how you should implement the logic, and when you're drinking coffee, the idea comes to your mind. So there are lots of things like that in front end. It can happen as well, but they're not. The hard logics aren't everyday part of the work. So for the front end, you have to be an attentive person to understand the minor changes. You have to have also good eye to details. Yeah. Yeah. So let's start. Dear viewers, I took my time to share the screen. Let me please introduce like what I meant by you have to take your time and investigate what you are into, what you're interested in. You have to have basic knowledge of fundamentals and firstly, what is programming at all? And then uh, yeah, let's introduce several aspects you can see here. I will go one by one and explain how everything works. What is DNS and how it works? What is domain name? What is hosting? Uh, what is front end and back end and how they differentiate? What is internet? How it is working at all? Because many people don't know such things, and what technologies we use for our repositories. Like everything I will explain won't be, of course, in details. It will be on high level right now for you to just have a grasp of what everything is. So here we have front-end development, yes, back-end development. There are differentiations, and many people ask what pays more. They don't even like, they're people that love money too much, like they're more into like what pays more. They say like, I don't care what interests me, like what pays more. What I can say, it's not the programming language or stack that pays more. It's you as a developer and your job that pays more. Like I know many developers that it has been like 10 years, they work in the same place, and they receive a salary that used to be okay in 2013, but it is not okay right now, even if right now, of course, we know there is a stagnation in IT, but not so severe to drop that much. So it depends on you as a person, how you market yourself as well, and also like what generalist knowledge you have. For some countries, within some countries in information technologies, people prefer professionals that have some firm knowledge on one skill only. But I would just generalize and say that in Europe and United States, uh, mm, it is quite different because I mostly worked with Europe and the United States. They want you to have more generalist knowledge and it pays more. So it doesn't depend on technology. It depends on your personal branding, so to say, your knowledge, how much you know, your stack, and also, for example, your front end. Do you only do like mockups and HTML, CSS, or do you also work with React.js, etc.? Even if you are front end, do you know Node.js? Can you work with backend if something is necessary? For example, if you want to join startups, they want someone who, in critical situations, when, for example, their backend engineer is out of the country, can help to add some column in some row or column in DB, so such as they understand how to do basic things in backend development as well, or in this AI era, at least know how to prompt, so that prompt helps solving a backend bug when backend is out of the country, for example, because startups usually they don't hire like many people, like they don't have 50 employees, especially early stage startups. They pay a good amount of money, but they prefer to have like 2 to 4 engineers in the first initial phases of development, and they prefer generalists as well. So in the front end part, like front end developers work in languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, main languages. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, is standard markup language for creating web pages. I will also share one screen for you to understand its structure, like what it is about. CSS is short for cascading style sheets, while HTML is used to create structure on a site. And also CSS is used to bring style and flair, like it defines site's colors, fonts, and the style of the site content. And JavaScript is a language that can be used to make a site interactive and fun. You can use it to run a game on your site, to name like one example. Even in some cases, it can be just a uh, it can be just container even for desktop apps. For example, Electron.js. You can integrate a Python app into Electron.js and make a desktop app. There are various cases, but I will talk more on frameworks and tools soon enough. In front end, so why I did up AngularJS? No one uses that anymore, but some websites use it for just support because they don't have time, or client doesn't pay any more money if it's an outsourced company and did it for the client and their support now. They don't pay enough money to switch to Angular, so they still use AngularJS. For Angular, why I wrote Angular 2 Plus, starting from Angular 2, everything changes, like it's a completely different framework. So then lots of new versions of Angular were there. Last Angular version I worked at was 11th Angular 11, and there were many comfortable things added up. React.js library, Next.js is for full stack development, and I edit it up for both front end and backend. HTML and CSS frameworks, for example, they are called preprocesses. Sass, less can also be used. So I'm not mostly I am right now talking about web development, but in mobile development, like mostly it is done full stack, and for I would adapt that for mobile design. Designers use Adobe XD for most iOS and Android apps, and they use Figma for web apps. But yeah, of course, they also use Figma for mobile apps. It depends on preferences. And yeah, let's go to backend development. What is backend? I'm just right now talking about backend programming languages and frameworks, but soon enough I will explain how they interact with each other. Backend developers work in languages like PHP, C++. Oh, C++ would be the first one. Like before that, it was C was popular, then C++ came up, then C Sharp, PHP, Java, Ruby, Python, JavaScript, and so Node.js for with JavaScript we use Node.js or Next.js for backend development. I added it up intentionally for they had to be in braces. I forgot to add them up. But yeah, you can use both of them for backend implementation. With Next.js, you can do both as I stated. And PHP is server-side scripting language. Java is highly popular platform and programming language. Python is one of my favorites. I like it too much. It is general purpose coding language used both in data science and machine learning and in web applications. And like you can do anything with it. It's different from some of the others we've mentioned because it's isn't limited to only web development and is quite universal. You can do not only data science, just you can even do data analytics. By the way, for data analytics, you can also use R programming language, which is also very, very popular if you are working on data visualizations. And but R is only and only for data analytics, while Python is more general. So if you know that, it's a good perk. For backend frameworks, we have Node.js. For Node.js, we have Express.js, Nest.js, Fastify. For Python, we have Fast API, Django, and Flask. Personally, I work with Fast API because I worked on artificial intelligence products and machine learning. Django is for actually web development. Apps widely used. For Java, Spring Boot is the best choice. For C Sharp, we have ASP.NET Core. For PHP, we have lots of framework that wouldn't fit in here. Most popular are Symfony and Laravel. And some people for like every person can learn like WordPress very quickly. WordPress is also very well known for advertisement websites, and it's also working on PHP. You have to know good PHP to be able to mm, implement some libraries that you will need and you will not find. Definitely, believe me, there will be some libraries that you won't find and you will have to make them. And Go with Gin and Fiber, Ruby with Ruby on Rails framework, Rust with Exum and Actix Web, and Elixir with Phoenix. So what is HTTP at all? Like a hypertext transfer protocol is it's like mm, opened name. It is a procedure. HTTP is a procedure for exchanging information, like defining place for every information in World of Network. Imagine, for example, you have your relatives, yes? You know each relative's address, or even right now many people use Google Maps, and we add up address of our home, address of our parents' home, address of our friends' home to be able to use it whenever we want. And it is defining a place. Imagine every information in web has their own place in the network. Imagine network is a word where each information has their home and address. So that is all about hypertext transfer protocol, HTTP. Um, if you're a very attentive person, of course, you saw HTTP many times. I had to start from that. Like each website has HTTP and then goes wwws. So it is like GPS for information in web. That's why I brought the example of Google Maps. So let's talk about someone whose name is very popular, and it is written under the specification of the protocol which is used for parsing web pages from server to the browser. So Roy Fielding, with his colleagues, set up the original www server and created several www software packages, and in early 1994 became involved in the effort to specify and improve the www infrastructure through the IETF. Working groups on URI, which is the URL, same as HTTP and HTML, the set of protocols that were used to retrieve and view this document. He also co-founded Apache HTTP server project and on the board of the directors of the Apache Software Foundation. You can even find his personal information, not personal, public personal information, who he was, how everything, how the history went. As we already have ChatGPT and Gemini, you can also ask these agents to help you with more thorough information on this, because I want to have time to talk about more things. So let's go to what is like web service. What is web service? Like programming itself is is also a service. We are, as a profession, we are service people. So there were old technologies, yes. In old technologies, we had like forcing, exchanging information, interacting between each other for some group of machines. And it was quite limited, like the technology. There was no technology at all that could help us connect to all the computers in the world. Right now, as we understand, we can connect to anyone in the world, because these people created that protocol. That is how it is possible now. Now we can interact with anyone, any computer that is located anywhere you can imagine. So because of like several things, let's start also by explanation of what is DNS at all, domain name system. In the internet, there is a DNS system that works like how to uh, if you have phone books in your homes, you can understand. Like it is much like a phone book by managing like mapping. Or even in your mobile application, like you have phone book, yes. It works like a phone book, managing mappings between names and numbers. DNS servers translate requests for names into IP addresses. We as users, we don't see that IP addresses, but we see the actual name of the website. Under the hood, it is IP address itself. And so DNS servers translate these requests for names into IP addresses, controlling which server an end user will reach when they type a domain name. So, for example, when you type facebook.com, it is connected to some IP that is some number, um, but you don't see it. So it finds it that way. It finds the whole website information by connecting to that number and bringing up all the information to us. So all these requests are called queries. They are being run under the hood. What is query? Like in Facebook, you can write a post, yes, on the wall. When you like click post, request is sent. Like it is query itself. You make a query then as a user. So we will dive into it more in future. But let me show you its structure. Like just approximately, yes. Let's go. So this is DNS. Imagine this is the root server here. And here we have this end user. Our end user goes to here, it types www.example.com. Imagine like facebook.com or Instagram. It goes to DNS resolver and sends the request to DNS root name server. Then, of course, it finds the name server uh, for that sent name, and it finds that in the root it has this number. It contacts the information on its number. It sends it back to DNS resolver. Uh, what happens next is that based on it, this www.example.com, in our case, like for example, facebook.com, in this mm, numbered web server comes and shows up to end user. But look how many steps happened before it happened. So here we had this number. Based on that number, it showed the information. So and based on it, we have this already on the web server. The main information. This is separate because we already like get the information. We're in the information. This information is fetched with this with this visual is fetched to end user because our user doesn't need these numbers. This is just for the protocol. Let's go to the next important part. Like we see that when person works like cross system, when working there can be different programming languages, yes, different types of databases, different systems on computers. And URL helps all systems interact between each other, passing information about the resources. So URL is how our systems interact between each other, passing information and resources, updating information, etc., etc. So this is all for interaction to be able to have it cross system to connect everything all together. So let's imagine we have the web browser, we have the internet, we send HTTP request to our web server and we receive response. Let me explain in human language, like what is HTTP request? For example, you want to change your profile picture, yes, in Facebook. You upload a new picture. That picture is translated to some line of information and sent to server. How does okay, then how does it change? Of course, it has to be visible to us after the change. It happens after response comes. So if it is successful, our response is okay. Images, a new profile picture is uploaded, so we should see the new picture. Response when a response comes, it comes again in a textual information way. Like it is a textual information. And if you work with JavaScript and most programming languages, it comes in a JSON format, which is like, for example, name two dots this, image two dots this. And it comes to as a response on front-end side, front-end developer, because when you send a request, front-end takes your request and sends it to backend, which is sending backend sends it to web server. It updates, backend receives the response, and response is also received on front-end side. Backend gives front-end a textual information. Front-end has to show it nicely and neatly to the user. So that's why there is a joke that whatever happens, like in web development or whatever, front-end developer is to blame, but sometimes like issue can be on the front-end side. But firstly, everyone suspects like that something is wrong on front-end because people, when they go to the website, they don't see something, they think it's front-end, but some information may be like distorted and may not come from backend or maybe outdated. I don't know. There can be also resources that are banned or some library that doesn't anymore work on the backend side, and like everyone is firstly like, suspecting front end. That's why I say that every project product manager, every QA, they have to understand how everything works whoever you are, even if you are a CEO in this field, so that in how to say catastrophic times you can at least open the browser and understand like what information isn't coming, like if isn't coming from backend and front end. In later videos, I will show you how to do that debugging. Right now, we will continue our session. Let's go. What is this called? This all of this process actually it is called like a REST, HTTP REST. So web architecture itself is based on REST. HTTP REST gives definition to resource, which is the object of certain address. URLs tell browser like the resources place. Browser requests the web page, which is the representative of the resource, and now most of all each resource has one representation. Uh, I guess you may be a little bit confused, but when we continue these beginner topics, you will understand it more in details. I'm not going to go full technical, but we'll provide some examples later. So in HTTP protocol, yes, we have various methods: post, get, put, delete. Look how easy it is. Don't think it is difficult, because whenever person thinks something is difficult, they don't do it. They don't understand it well. When you think something is easy, you understand it better. So HTTP GET method gets information for machine. So GET, it is saying all about it. With browser, you get information understandable for human beings. And you have put. Put is for updating, and put is supposed to accept the body of the request and then store that at the resource defined by the URI. But what I want to talk about is that apart, I will just explain these four methods right now, but there is also patch method but I will not go into details on it. This URI in a put request identifies the identity enclosed with the request. The user agent knows the URI is like intended, and the server must not attempt to apply the request to the same resource. If server desires that the request is applied with a different URI, it must send 301. So what I'm talking about, explaining briefly like this, that if we put it accesses not the whole information and updates the whole information, but only whatever you want to update. For example, same when you have contact details, yes, in contact form, or something else, for example, in Globing, for example, or other website in. Again, in Facebook, personal details, you change only your name. And when you submit it, it's only sends request to only change the chunk of information, only your name. It doesn't update the whole information. With the post, an HTTP post is more general. It is supposed to initiate an action on the server. The action could be to store the request by the resource identified by the URI, or it could be a different URI, or it could be a different action. And so the URI in a post request identifies the resource that will handle the enclosed entity. Like that resource is for data accepting process, a gateway to some other protocol, or a separate entity that accepts any annotation. So post to explain in human language, like put is for updating information, get is for getting information that is already there, post is for creating, and here we have delete. It says everything. Like it just deletes the resource from the database that is associated with the given field name. So it can be a field name, it can be an object, whatever you want to delete. With the hypertext transfer protocol secure. In early web, there was only HTTP. We already saw HTTP. Now we have HTTPS. The protection, it has been already 10 years that it exists. And here, the protection relies on SSL certificate to encrypt the online data. Encryption means that the sender and recipient actually agree upon a code and translate their documents into random looking character strings. Why is this important? Like it is for safety of your information, for the safety of information for website, both user and owner of the website or product or platform, whatever it is. So SSL certificate itself contains character strings that are the keys to their secret codes. SSL certificate contains the computer owner's public key. The owner shares the public key like with anyone. Imagine it's same key as your home has keys, same as the website has its keys, like such that it's for security. Yes. Other users need to need the public key to encrypt the messages to the owner. And the owner sends those users the SSL certificate, which contains the public key. The owner doesn't share the private key with anyone. We have public key. Like imagine a home owner like leaves the gate open, but they always close the door inside. Yeah, something like that. A private one, private key. They don't share with anyone, and it belongs only to the owner. The security during the transfer is called the secure sockets layer and transport layer security. The procedure for exchanges public keys using SSL certificate to enable HTTPS, SSL and TLS is called public key infrastructure, PKI. Uh, so in the next video, I will share basic knowledge on front-end development to so that you have some fundamentals on how everything works tied together in the front-end part. Yeah, I will just talk about one screen and finish today's session because it took longer, as I want to bring more humane examples from everyday life, and it took more time than I imagined. So the basic knowledge front end contains fundamental topics based on which you can create a quality product, quality website, whatever you call it. So there, as we talked about the frameworks, we already know there are very different frameworks for different purposes. You have to not only know the native JavaScript, but also learn some frameworks in order to work in big enterprise companies and in any company. So here I will just introduce the main structure on the basics. Like we have HTML, CSS, we have JavaScript. Back then, in earlier years, people used jQuery, and believe me or not, many modern applications, even huge corporations, still have some jQuery safety in there. Some jQuery part. I don't understand that, but some companies they are so huge that they didn't have time to change some old things, so they remain the same. And they may be some things on admin side that user doesn't access at all, so they decided not to do a huge bear work, so to say, on that. So here we have, like, getting deeper, we have several things, like we have JavaScript, CSS, responsive web design done with CSS. And with JavaScript, we have, like, we talked about many frameworks, mostly known TypeScript that works with JavaScript. TypeScript is also a programming language, and mostly any JavaScript engineer should also have a knowledge of TypeScript sooner or later. We have ES6 standard, starting from ES6. Now we have even new standards. We have task runners when we work with JavaScript. NPM scripts, we can use GOP, Grunt, or NPM scripts. Just for JavaScript, we use NPM and yarn for commands. in the terminal. What is terminal? Many people don't know what is terminal and how to work with shell. I will have another session about that. I have to write somewhere what I promise. Um, but you can always remind me in the comments if you want something earlier. Here we have a JavaScript for testing, just Mocha, Jasmine. It's not written, but for backend side, we also use Cypress, for example, when we work with Node.js. With CSS, we can use our framework like Less or SAS, like preprocessor, so to say. For the framework, we have a Bootstrap. SAS and Less are mostly called preprocessors. We also have Stylus, Past CSS, and now we also have Tailwind CSS. Tailwind is a framework, not a preprocessor. And Tailwind and Bootstrap right now are like many people prefer Tailwind. It did a huge storm when it came into the market now, but some people are for Bootstrap still. We also use semantic UI, about which I will talk later as well. It is very important topic. Uh, okay, let's say we understand what we use on web for responsive, what we use in JavaScript. Uh, about frameworks, I will not talk again. About module loaders, what is module loader? Webpack, Rollup, or Browserify. Like we can use many module loaders. They are for organizing what transfers, what runs second, how to organize like what you did, because some applications may have several modules. For example, I implemented a game that had like two mods, which were two different applications, and it also had admin side, which was also a separate module. So I had to think of a better structure, but then I used a Webpack for that. We have Flux, Redux, and Mobix that work with React. We have Next.js separately for implementing a full stack development. We can do whole full stack on it. Okay, with what methodologies we use? So for CSS, we can use object-oriented CSS. We can use Suite CSS. So lots of things that you can. Semantic CSS, that is very, very important as well. And we can also use dive deep into CSS 3. So we have lots of standards and new functionality that we can use with HTML5 and CSS3. We can use like flexbox, gradients, transform, grade, skew, rotate, scale. This makes possible to make very beautiful animations on web without writing a heavy JavaScript code. And it came in after several years of struggling with such things. We also can use SVG generating images. SVG also is, you can just Google it and understand how it works. It works for creating images you want for web separately. But in this, in this AI era and in this technological advancement era, I don't think you will have to have like deep knowledge of how to create SVG images, but you can just dive in and explore what it is, how to create one. You may have even noticed it in various websites where you download something from somewhere and it comes in SVG format, like some image or something else. Here we have also in JavaScript lots of things you have to learn, like design patterns. Design patterns is not all about only JavaScript. It's about programming, like it's a programming, design patterns. Same design patterns can be implemented, used, not implemented, but used in various programming languages. This is the basics about design patterns. Of course, if I have enough subscribers, so don't forget to subscribe and help for advancement of this channel. I will also have another introductory video about water design patterns at all without going into a specific language, just explaining how each design pattern works. We have regexes, we have to learn various modern techniques, and we have to be up to date with knowledge of DevOps as well as engineers. Um, so, as I talked about HTML, I will also introduce this one, and we will just finish today's session. Um, so HTML is hypertext markup language, a standard language that was designed to be displayed in the web browser. So whatever you see in the web browser, it is thanks to HTML that exists. And it was developed by British scientist Tim Berners-Lee in about the years of 1986 to 1991 in the European Council for Nuclear Research in Geneva. So what is HTML5 and its elements and attributes? Like it is for, already says its name, so it contains markup tags. Markup tags tell the browser like how to display the page. Based on tags, browser understands how to display the page. An HTML file must have an HTML or HTML file extension, and it can be created using a simple text editor. Anything right now widely used editors. Oh, I will have separate session on editors and perks and advantages of each editor, like Visual Studio Code and WebStorm, JetBrains. WebStorm belongs to JetBrains, so I used all of them, so to say, all of the editors. But yeah, recently I'm working with Visual Studio Code. So let's go to look its style, how HTML is. Many people learned it at school as well, so I won't go into details, but it has a tree structure like HTML. Within HTML head, in head there title, etc., etc. In body there can be several things, H1, P, anything. So it has a file structure based on it, and how we indicate the CSS. We will see everything like we decide, however we decide. So oh, I just found out. Minute, please. Yeah, I just found out that when you work with vid, I prefer vid, by the way, for recording these videos, and like when you're creating a video and sharing the screen, it then you stop recording, actually stop sharing, it ends the video. I didn't see that there was adding a new scene button where you can continue without screen sharing. Yeah, thank you very much for your attention, and this video came out too long, I guess. I may cut it into or just edit up like this to help you. Um, but I hope it will be useful for beginners in information technology field, for anyone who is interested in technologies, for people who want to invest, anyone who is just curious how everything works all together. Of course, many things are things that even I, as a developer, when I started, um, I didn't understand some things that were explained, and I understood later when I used them more. But at least I guess I gave like 85% of very useful information for beginners, and I'm open to any comments or suggestions on content on what you want me to talk about. And of course, I'm going to also dedicate lots of time on AI development, talking about AI development. And why I started from beginner videos, because I help lots of people, mentor them. To be honest, like I had just thought that, yeah, like only 10% of these people were like, how to say, quite thankful. And I decided that at least when like 50,000 people watch this and learn from me, at least like 5%, 10% will be happy with the information, and I will get some blessings from universe for helping people. So um, I hope I will continue this video sequence, and will be able to share my knowledge even better. This is quite different format. I gave many lessons for web development, but this is quite challenging for me, because talking in the like right in the camera, when there is no human listening at the, like, I know that later on people will listen, but right now no one is listening. So I try to be interactive with my face and learn to um, talk to camera to later have be useful for people and spread useful information for you. Thank you, and super good, Charlie. In tech was with you, and I'm looking forward to your engagement, likes, subscriptions, and yeah, see you later in new videos. Bye bye.